Okay, I am the content creator for Andretti Formula E team, and it is race day here in Sao Paulo. And I wanted to show what it's like to photograph and film for a Formula E team or, a motorsports team on race day. So it is 5:25 in the morning, and I have to leave right now. I'm flying back home tonight, so before going anywhere, I have to check out. I just need to check out. This here is our little office area. Social is there. Partnership is here. And this is where I sit. So like I said, today is race day. We have free practice at 7 a.m., which is in an hour. Then we have quali, which is around 10 o'clock. And then we have the race itself, that's at 2 o'clock, so at 1400 hours. So that's the plan for today. We've been here for a few days now, 2 days of working. We've done a little bit of reels, a little bit of photos here and there, some activations. It's all been very nice, but this is kind of the big day, and there's less scheduled content for today and more reactionary content. I gotta get the drivers getting into the car. I gotta, depending on where we land, if we get a win, if we get a podium, if we get DNF, I have to be ready to capture all of that. I have to think on my feet, I have to be very on the fly, and I have to be very adaptable today. But before free practice starts, before I am able to shoot the drivers getting into the cars and whatever, I have to edit one reel that we shot yesterday. As you can see, there's not a lot of space to work with here. So this is kind of a transition reel that we shot that was supposed to be the cool thing of the weekend. Yeah. 6:30. Done with the reel, took 20 minutes, and now I have to just prepare for FP2. So a tiny garage tour. This is the inside of the garage. This is the media marketing side. This is the spare parts and driver's room side. So here are all the driver's kit. And then in here is the garage. Here is the viewing area. And here are the cars. They are uncovered on the back, so I'm gonna have to blur their backs out, And I'm gonna be kind of in this area with the cars and with the drivers shooting during FP1 and getting some overall driver stuff, car stuff. I also want to be able to do some sort of edits on my own, for my own Instagram, for my own social medias and stuff. So I'll try to get as much stuff for that as possible. And then out here we have the pit lane itself. But as you can see, this is actually a 2-lane pit lane. So you have a wall of teams here, and then a wall of teams here as well. So it's pretty unusual. So like I said, I am photographing in and around the garage, and at this point the pit lane is not live. So this is my only chance really to get into the pit lane and start photographing. And then I move back into the garage, and as you can see, it is very tight in here. There are mechanics, there are engineers, drivers, lots of stuff laying around, and I don't want to bump anything, knock anything. I don't want to be in the way at all. And it helps that I know the mechanics and the mechanics know me. I know how they move. They know how I move. They're not afraid to push me away if needed. And then on top of shooting for Andretti, also the drivers might want some pictures every now and then. So I gotta make sure that I'm covering them very well, enough for their Instagrams. And here, for example, Jake has a new helmet for this season. So I tried to cover the helmet as much as I can, get as many photos of him as I possibly can with the helmet and all that. Also just, other detail shots. I like this shot of the Jake Dennis on the side. It looked good. And here a little bit of a detail shot of the helmets, getting ready, putting the glove on. Right on now I zoom in and I can get more of a detail shot of the helmet. I really like the visor, the kind of texture in the visor. And then I move on to the tracking shots. First one was pretty bad. Second one was okay. They're difficult. Terrible shots. I got terrible shots.
You know that thing on your head?
Yeah.
Makes you look ridiculous.
I know. And then here I got a good shot of Nico's eye. You can see sweat right there on the left side of his face and all that. But you can see here how tight it gets in here. And at this point I just wanted to get out of the way. And then I also wanted to just take photos of team members, engineers, mechanics, all that, because it's nice for everybody to have photos of them as well, not just the drivers and the cars, And then because it was so hot, the drivers had these dry ice packs, and Jake had a fan as well, so the smoke came kind of out like this, and it looked very good. I want to get a shot of the car kind of coming out of the pits. I fucked it up at the beginning of FP2. I'm gonna try again now. And here I managed to get the tracking shots of the car getting out of the garage a little bit better. This one was nice. The second one of Jake was also pretty good right here. Oh, yeah, that was pretty good. Boom, I think I got it. This is way harder than it seems. Yeah, it is very hard to get tracking shots, mainly because the shutter speed is so low and you have to perfectly sync the movement of your camera to the movement of the car. And you don't really get any second chances, really. So it's a tough thing to do. And here FP2 is finishing up, they're getting out of the car. Got some nice pictures of Jake here. Again, just focusing on the helmet. He was looking down so I could see the top of his helmet. And then I got Nico pulling in here again, and got a nice side shot of him getting out of the car. Nice position, nice framing. And that's FP2. FP2 was a very normal session. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. I tried to shoot less than more because I didn't want to fill up everything. And I ended up with 750 something photos, 760 something photos. So that's pretty easy. It's about 60 gigabytes. And that's kind of typical for a normal free practice session or a quali session. And the thing is, you want to get as many photos during free practice and not during quali in the race, because during quali they go out and they don't really come back in, and there's more waiting around and more high pressure. But during free practice, they're in and out. They're, I can tell the drivers to look there or, whatever. Yeah, we're done for now. Now it's just kind of sneaky shots here and there. But then in terms of like file structure, because I'm just importing my photos now, there's not a lot of organization really, because it's just me, it's just my photos. I'm not, I'm just sharing the exports with everyone else. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just dumping all of my photos into a photos folder, and then I open up Lightroom, and every time I've added new photos, I simply just synchronize folder, and that's it. Sometimes I have to delete photos, and that'll organize everything. I know, not a lot of organization, because I don't have to deliver the RAWs. The RAWs are just for me. There's really no reason to organize, so why overcomplicate it? And then I have a preset for Andretti, slap them on all the photos, or my selects, and then do some minor corrections, white balance exposure, boom, and we're done. After the first part of the morning with FP2, we have 104 exported images.
Oh, it's a challenge, this heat, I tell you. I thought it was supposed to be cooler in December.
It's so warm here.
Next week it's like
We have a snack drawer, and it's melted. All of the Haribos are melted into one goo. Right now I guess 28 degrees, 25 to 28 degrees Celsius. It's gonna go up to like 33, 34, 35 today. And now quali is in 10 minutes, so let's shoot quali. During quali, I started off in the viewing area right here, just to get a different composition, a different angle, different lighting. Mainly because the challenge here is, in every session, free practice, quali race, it looks all the same from like my perspective. It becomes a challenge to try to find new angles, new photos. It's a big challenge, but I like challenges. Oh, excuse me, sorry.
My wife appreciates your pictures.
Oh,
likes it a lot.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. But then during quali, I also wanted to just sit back and not be in the way of the drivers or the mechanics or anyone, because I didn't want to have any effect, right? But then on top of shooting photos for social media, Instagram and stuff, I'm also shooting stuff that Andretti might want to use in press releases and stuff like that. So I'm also shooting landscape photos with more varied compositions, just so they have the opportunity to use these photos in other situations, not just social media, if they so choose. But then I again moved to the viewing area again because Jake had set up his helmet like that, and then he took his a little bit of time getting his race suit on and was speaking to the mechanics, so I got nice smiles, nice interactions, and then here he was talking to his race engineer, and again I got him kind of deep in thought, speculating, whatever. And then Jake got through to the knockout round, so I got lots of happy faces cheering when he was able to do that, and then here you see him pulling back in before the knockouts. How much did he win by? How much?
5/10.
Shit, really? And then that's it for quali. Here we are seeing him lose out by 1 millisecond. He got P3, so pretty good result. And that is qualifying value. And F1 qualifying as well. Jake missed out by 1,000th of a second, so he lands at P3, but it's good. It's good. It was a strong showing, so I think we're gonna. Jake is gonna be good in the race, I think. And it is now 12:36. The race is in, I think, 1.5 hours, almost exactly. So until then, there's not much to do. So yeah, now we just now we wait until the race. I think I've handed in 250 photos today of drivers, of fans, of this and that. But in regards to my gear, what gear I'm using, like always, I'm using the A7 R5 with the Tamron 35-150. This lens, the Tamron 35-150, is on my camera the entire weekend. It does not come off. Just because I'm in tight quarters in the garage, I'm in tight quarters everywhere, so I don't want to be switching lenses. Just one lens the entire weekend. That's it. For all my video stuff, I'm shooting with the A7S III with a 24-105 f4. And the reason I choose that lens is because, I mean, it's f4, so that's not great, but the image quality is amazing and the image stabilization is top tier. So that's my gear, but kind of irrelevant. You can use anything you want. That's just what I choose. And then I'm shooting this on the FX32. And for one of the first time in my life, I'm in front of the camera here.
Ah, love it.
And then after having lunch, being able to relax a little bit, watch F1 qualifying, we head out to the grid. Now, because I was on the blue pass, I was not able to get onto the grid with the whole team. I had to go in a bit later, so we didn't have a whole lot of time. But here we are heading in with all the guests, and we're going to our grid slot. And here the challenge is that there are just so many people. There's just so many people, and it's very difficult to be able to shoot around all these people and find a nice composition.
Looking good.
So my thinking is that I'm not going to fight it, I'm just going to embrace it. I like putting stuff in the foreground like you see here, something like that. And then while I'm on the grid, I want to take as many photos as I possibly can. Mainly because this is one of the few scenarios when I'm taking photos of the team not in the garage. So I want to maximize that as much as I possibly can, especially with all the nice natural light, the sunlight that's here, as opposed to the, kind of bad lighting within the garage. Like I said earlier, the name of the game here is variety. I want to be able to get as much variation in my photos over the weekend as I possibly can. And while on the grid, I have 15-20 minutes of everything being new, everything being in a different place, different lighting, different setups. Like here, this shot of Nico's helmet. I wouldn't be able to get this properly in the garage. Like with this shot is unique to Brazil as opposed to the garage shots, which could in theory be shot anywhere. But then for the race starts, I move back into the garage, and this is where things start to go wrong for the team, because on lap 1 or 2, Nico gets crashed into and he DNFs. I get a lot of sad faces, of course, and Nico comes in, obviously very upset. And this is where thinking on my feet and being adaptable comes in. I have to get all of these reactions. And then just a short while later, Jake Dennis also DNFs, and that's a double DNF for the team. And of course, everybody's very upset, and I have to, again, keep my eyes peeled and think on my feet and be able to get all these reactions, because as you can see, the mechanics go straight into packing down the garage. So I get a lot of reactions, but I don't get a lot of time to capture them. Then when Jake comes back, he has a little unofficial debrief behind the garage with the team principal and his race engineer, and that was a good opportunity for me to grab some shots of him being upset. And then while the mechanics and the engineers take down the garage and the PR people prepare a statement, I spent the rest of my time finishing editing all my photos, getting everything organized and sorted, because like I said, I'm flying back home in just a few hours. So sadly, that's it for the race. Double DNF. Tragic. I mean, they couldn't have done anything about it. Nico was bumped, so he's out, and then Jake lost power. So yeah, not a good result. But for me, in terms of photography and shooting photos, it was cool. I got a lot of emotions, a lot of sad faces, and content-wise, photo-wise, it would have been worse if they finished like P8, P12. They would be like everybody would be kind of indifferent, but at least now I got some emotion, which was nice. But now it's 16:30, race is over, everybody's starting to pack up. I'm done editing, so the next thing is just straight to the airplane and go home. So yeah, that's a race day for a Formula E content creator. Until next time, bye.